Welcome back to the Chōten Podcast, everybody, where we talk to the leaders and the innovators shaping the future of business and really diving into how AI and sales will be the future. So today I'm joined by someone who has made a pretty massive impact in the industry. He leads the #1 sales leadership academy for the home improvement space. I met with Dominic Caminata. Did I say that right, Dominic? Awesome. He's the CEO of Grosso University, one of the premier sales training organizers in the space. So, Dom, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I first want to thank you for having me on the show. I think the mission's definitely very, very important. And I love watching shows like this myself. I'm very much a student as I am a teacher, so I just want to thank you for the opportunity, first and foremost.
Love that. Absolutely. And thank you for being on the show.
Yeah. So Grosso University, as you mentioned, our life's dedication is coaching home improvement companies to grow and scale profitably. That's really the headline of everything that we do. We always say volumes for vanity, profits for sanity. It's very important that owners learn how to get the systems, processes, training skills, techniques, so they can grow and scale a profitable business, and as a result, provide much better service, quality products, installation materials to their clients. And that's really, at the end of the day, what it's all about. I first began my journey in 2010. I very much started at ground level as an outside salesperson. And thankfully, the first company I worked for is a company called Mad City Roofing, Siding, and Windows. They had the Grosso 10-step sales process. And for someone like me coming into the industry with zero sales experience is very much a godsend for me. And simply learning this 10-step, we call it a paint by numbers system. You can follow the basic instructions of the sales process. I actually closed my first 7 sales in a row.
Oh, wow.
Not having a clue what I was even doing. And very much became, I would say, obsessed with mastering the art of the in-home sale early in my career. And this wasn't something that I was really born to do. You know, you got some of these people that are like natural born salespeople. They have thick skin, they're more confident, they have the natural gift of gab. That certainly was not me. I was very much trained to be good at sales, and it took me a long time to really hit my stride to get that thick skin. But my first 6 months in the game, I sold just shy of $1 million in home improvement sales, which at the time was shattering every record the company had. And I began to fall in love with the sales process, sales as a whole, and the home improvement industry as a whole. I just fell in love with the industry early in my career. And in 2011, after my first year in the game, I got recognized as Salesman of the Year. And we had a surprise guest at the awards ceremony, and it was Rick Grosso himself, the guy that actually wrote the sales process and the guy that literally gave me the gift that changed my life. And that's how I always looked at it.
So it was like meeting a hero, huh?
Exactly. I was like absolutely just blown away. I was in awe of the moment. And Rick Grosso was sitting right next to me at dinner, and he's ordering $300 bottles of wine. He's wearing like a $50,000 solid gold Rolex watch and his Robert Graham dress shirts. He's got a smile on his face so white you could put a banana in there sideways. And he's sharing all these stories about the houses he owns in Italy and the house he owns in New York and down in Florida and how he travels the world, simply sharing his wisdom with thousands of people and changing lives. And there's something about that moment in 2011. I made up my mind that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be Rick Grosso. I wanted to be him. So I didn't just want to learn the game of sales so I could be a good salesperson. I wanted to take over this man's legacy. But I knew that wasn't going to come easy, or it wasn't going to be handed to me. I had to earn it, right? I'm very much a believer. You got to earn your rights in the world, right? So, but that became my definite purpose, my worthwhile written goal, and I fueled that with a burning desire. So I was the top closer in the company for 3 straight years, and along the way, I spent a great amount of time coaching, teaching, and mentoring other salespeople, even though on an org chart I wasn't required to. But my goal was to become the teacher and trainer for the entire company. And because I was already a leader without being required to be, in 2012, I finally got promoted to sales trainer, sales director. And essentially in, 7 years, from 2012 to 2019, we grew that sales team from 7 million to 100 million.
Wow.
Following the Grosso system. So, and there's a lot that happened. Obviously, did a lot of things wrong, made a lot of mistakes, but I had such fuel and burning desire and passion and drive, and no one was going to stop me because I already made up my mind that I was going to do this. I was going to build the highest performing sales team in the game, because I knew that if I could do that, I would have earned the right to take over this man's legacy.
Awesome.
That opportunity presented itself in 2019. Rick Grosso announced he'd be stepping down and actually flew out to Washington, D.C. to meet him because he had his last ever training event. And I was fortunate enough to take him out to dinner and tell him face to face that I just want to let you know in person that I'm taking over your legacy. This is what I've been working for my entire career, and there's nobody that's going to do it better than me. And thankfully, his reaction was, I couldn't think of anybody better. So,
That's awesome.
So that's the origin story of Grosso University in 2019. And we define what we do as legendary training for the modern world. And I say it that way because Rick Grosso is the legend that I learned from. He was the greatest of all time, and he left a hell of a legacy in the industry. But obviously, it's cutting edge. We're at the front lines. You talked about AI and how it's influencing sales. And now we're making data-driven decisions. We're treating sales like a sport more than ever before. So it's got the legendary bones and framework of Rick, but of course, we're at the front lines of this rapidly changing dynamic industry.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. That was a lot of great information, and I really enjoyed listening to the full story of how everything started. And one thing that kept popping up into my mind when you were telling this story was you always kept saying, "This was my goal. I knew this was so."
Yeah.
You knew that you had something bigger to achieve, and you made that your mindset. So talk to me a little bit about why mindset is so important to salespeople.
Yeah, mindset is absolutely everything. Skill set obviously is key, but I find if you have the right mindset, it helps you basically develop the right skill set over time. Most of our training in the beginning, like you talk about the first steps of our sales training, is all about health and wellness and mindset. Because it's really difficult to have a good mindset if you're not healthy, because as you probably know, this whole beautiful body is all interconnected. So I got to have good gut health, good heart health, and good brain health. And that helps me with my overall mental clarity, my mindset, my ability to control my disruptive emotions, have high emotional intelligence and control. So there's a lot that goes into it, but mindset is absolutely everything because you always sell proportionate to how you feel. So sales is nothing more than a transference of feeling and emotion, energy and motion. So if I have poor energy, if I have negative energy, it's going to basically translate into negative results. And Rick always said that life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that couldn't be more true in sales. Because if I go to a house with negative thoughts, feelings, negative attitudes, stinking thinking, that's actually going to have a negative impact on my outward appearance towards my prospects. And because it's giving me a negative vibration, negative outward appearance towards my prospects, it's going to give them negative thoughts and feelings towards me as a trusted advisor to take care of them, Absolutely. Which more than likely is going to translate into a negative result and them not wanting or feeling comfortable moving forward.
Absolutely.
That's further going to reinforce my negative mindset because I'm getting negative results. So this is why we say when you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. So The goal is, what can I do in my morning routine, in my morning ritual to really prepare, right? Because if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. To really get in the right mental state, to get at a high vibration, to get positive. Because the cool thing is your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between real experience, imagined thought, or what you see and experience on a TV screen. So what am I doing intentionally to fuel my mind with positive reinforcing information, energy, thoughts, vibrations? So when I show up to my first appointment, I have that positive outward appearance towards others, which is going to, again, begin the cycle with positive momentum. And that's really what it's all about. But yeah, mindset is absolutely everything. We got extensive training on the subject. First day of all of our training, we have sales reps create vision boards and create their affirmations and develop a morning routine to set them up for success. So when they show up to the home and his knuckles on the door and they're ready to begin the sales process, they've already closed the sale mentally in their mind.
Yep.
And that is so important. But yeah, I could talk for hours about mindset, but yeah, it's foundational to everything we do.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with that. One of the biggest things that I've implemented throughout my whole career is you are going to get the objections that you give out to the world.
Yep.
So if you're the kind of guy that says, like, I need to think about it, or you might have these limiting beliefs about yourself, you're going to get those objections from your clients as well. So
yeah, we call that projecting. A lot
Absolutely.
of salespeople do project their own thoughts, feelings, and beliefs onto their prospects, and that's very dangerous.
Right. And as humans, we pick up on each other's energies, right? Yeah. Right now, I'm getting a very positive energy from you. It's making me feel positive. It's, the vibe is going good. So you're right. As people, we pick up on these energies, and as salespeople, that is incredibly important to have that ability.
Yeah.
Now,
there's sorry to interrupt you, but there's one word that I've been talking about a lot more that I feel was foundational to my success in my career, And that one word is passion. So if you're truly passionate about what you're doing and you can communicate that compellingly to others, it's so much easier for them to also feel passionate about what you're offering and kind of have high levels of desire to own what it is that you're offering. But you got to be able to communicate with passion. And that's what I've learned because, sales, if you want to really summarize what we're doing, we're communicating to others, right? And what I found with a lot of master communicators is they communicate with passion.
Absolutely.
So it's something not to take lightly, but it all ties together, right? Because
Absolutely.
it's hard to communicate with passion if I'm down and out, if I'm not feeling up for it. So
And passion leads to conviction. Conviction
yes.
leads to confidence. People are going to have that confidence into you. That's awesome, man. So, you made your shift from salesperson, top salesperson in the company to now founding your own company.
Yep.
So talk to me about how that was, what the difference between being a salesperson is and being a founder is, and how you navigated that path.
Well, in the beginning, if I'm being totally honest, it was scary as hell because, at Mad City, obviously I was at the front lines. I was basically king of the world. I built $100 million empire. We had a brotherhood that was so tight knit. The culture was rock solid. And everybody knew Dominic Caminata, right? It was very well known in that company. Well, I get out to this big ocean of the home improvement space as a trainer and coach and consultant, which, people don't like that word, consultant. And nobody knows who I am. People don't have the slightest idea who Dominic Caminata is, and they don't care. Like, I don't know who you are, and I could really care less.
Right.
So starting out, it was like really terrifying. And I had no idea how I was going to become known, because one thing I learned is like the best known product will actually always beat the best product. You got to be known, otherwise you're not going anywhere.
Right.
But one thing that happened at the beginning of 2020, as you recall, when the world shut down and people were trying to figure out in the home improvement space, okay, our salespeople can't go into homes, everything's shut down. Like, how do we keep the doors open? So there was this big push to like, okay, how in the world can we sell virtually? How can we sell home improvement products virtually? And thankfully, at the end of my career as a sales trainer and coach at Mad City, I had spent an incredible amount of time dissecting our entire sales process from beginning to end and reimagining every step for virtual selling so we could have the same impact and same success virtually that we did in the home. So at the beginning of the pandemic, when there was all the craze, I founded Grosso University. I did a webinar, a workshop, how to sell home improvements virtually. And 750 people attended that webinar, that workshop. Yeah, I still have not been able to replicate those numbers ever since. But I went and I laid it all in the field. I was just on fire for this workshop, changing lives. People were just like, oh my God, where has this guy been my whole life, And that put me on the map. It was very much from zero to hero. And then, we've been trying to continue that momentum ever since. But that really helped. But yeah, it was honestly terrifying because being a salesperson, being a sales trainer is nothing at all like running a business and being an owner of a company.
Right.
But the good news is, leadership skills that I developed in my career at Mad City very much have been transferable to what I'm doing now. And I'm just laser focused on building and developing the people on my team and finding people that are way smarter and better than I am at certain tasks and empowering them and encouraging them to do the best job they can and recognizing them every step of the way. But I absolutely love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Having the freedom to pursue your dreams. And Grosso University, the thing that I love and what the pandemic actually granted as a positive is we can train people all over the world now. That's not something that ever even occurred to me when I first founded this business, is that we'd be able to train people all over the world. But like 95% of all the training and coaching we do is virtual.
Yeah.
So there's no borders. And one thing, a big campaign of ours beginning of this year, 2025, is to translate our training into multiple languages. So, for example, today we're the only fully bilingual training group in the home improvement space.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I want to translate our training into every language and be able to offer our services up worldwide. So big mission and vision, and we're doing it one step at a time.
That's amazing. And I really liked how you talked about being adaptable with the changes, within during the pandemic, especially for an industry like yours where it is very much going to people's houses, shaking hands, looking presentable, to completely switching to virtual. You brought up a lot of good points about how that has now been able to expand your business to places you never saw before.
Yeah, and if there's any home improvement companies watching this, I think it's really important that everyone understands, because a lot of people are having success only doing in-home selling, and that's fine. You want to always keep that. But I think any company in this industry right now that's not at least pursuing virtual as like a hybrid model, where I'm still going in the homes, but I also offer a virtual option for my customers, they're really shooting themselves in the foot. And I think it's really going to backfire in the future, because I think you're going to see more and more and more people as time goes on preferring buying things virtually versus having somebody come into their home. So my recommendation, anyone watching this, if you're in the home improvement space, figure out a way to at least start educating yourself, get some training and coaching. How do I sell virtually? Could I offer potentially a hybrid model? I have a client in Florida where they have a team of 2 people that they sell virtually, and they have a team of 10 people that go in the homes. The virtual sales team closes about $300,000 to $400,000 in home improvements every month, virtually. I mean,
you can reach a lot more people that way.
You can bolt that on. What if I could have 5 people closing virtually? There's so much opportunity there. I'm really glad that early on, I was really at the front lines of that, and we've been continuing to evolve in that capacity ever since.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about what the difference between the in-home process and the virtual process looks like.
Well, it's interesting because when I first took over Rick Grosso's legacy, he had a 10-step sales process. And it's still very much the foundation of our training. What I realized when I was running virtual appointments is preparation is everything. Like how you show up to that virtual encounter. Do you have the green screen? Do you have the virtual background? Do you have proper lighting? Do you have proper audio? So you see, like, everything I'm doing here for our conversation is intentional. I don't just show up. Make sure I have good lighting. Make sure I got a good camera. It's not just a terrible webcam that's all distorted.
Your laptop, yeah.
So there's a lot of preparation. Then also, one thing that I was really fanatical about running virtual appointments is doing a deep dive into my prospects. So I would look them up on social media. I would look up their house on Zoom, on Zillow. I'd look their utility companies up. I would gather as much information. There's AI technologies now where you can pull like 150 data points off of every prospect before you even meet them. So I literally have an entire, essentially, document and portfolio put together on who this person is, their hobbies, their likes, their financial situation, what they like to do for fun, recreation. Obviously on social media, that kind of is their, in some cases, fake portrayal of what they want the world to think about them. But it's important to them, so I'm going to make sure that I understand that. And it allows me to come to this virtual encounter armed with all kinds of ways I can relate to them, ask questions, get them talking about themselves, and start building trust and build a connection with this person, even though I have that physical barrier. Now, one thing that is really important when you're selling virtually, along with having a good camera, good audio, reliable internet, good lighting, all this stuff, is you got to make sure you have a lot of compelling video in your masterful presentation. Because one thing that I always ask myself is, how can I have the same impact virtually that I once did in the home? So what I ended up doing is recreating all the components of my masterful presentation in video format. And it worked absolutely phenomenally. So I would have like these 1 to 2 minute video clips that were little parts of our masterful presentation. And I couldn't believe how it had the same type of impact virtually that it did when I was in the home. And I wanted to share a story with you where my mind was blown. So I was running a virtual sales encounter with a prospect, and this was at the beginning of the pandemic, and they had 2 other companies actually come into their home physically before they met with us. So we were the 3rd company. So because they had the 2 other companies come into their home before the pandemic, and they ended up getting our estimate after the pandemic when things shut down. So I was the only virtual appointment. And the big epiphany I had where my mind was blown, at the end of that sales encounter, I was $4,000 higher than the second closest bid and almost twice as much as the cheapest. And not only did they buy from me, but the wife blurted out, she's like, "We just can't believe it. This is the best window we've ever seen."
Wow.
Now, I want you to think about that comment. She never saw a window.
Just virtually, yeah.
I was never in her house. It was done over her iPad. And the other companies actually did show them a window, like physically. So that to me is like, oh my gosh, like the system truly reigns supreme. Like, it's crazy. Even if you're virtual, you can destroy people, even when they go into the house physically with their products, because the average salesperson in this industry is just horrendous. They're taking the path of least resistance, but I blew them out of the water, even though I had that physical barrier.
Yep.
But I had all those elements where I'm building so much value. making the close a natural conclusion, building high levels of need, want, desire, and knowing how to ask the questions to make them feel special, make them feel heard and understood, get them talking about themselves. So there's so much there, but that was a huge moment in my career. I'm like, virtual, I mean, if people crack the code on this, it's gonna change the game in the industry big time.
Absolutely. And you know what? In the home improvement space, even now after COVID and everything, the virtual selling isn't that big in the home.
Not yet.
So there's a huge opportunity for home improvement businesses to tap into this market before it gets oversaturated, or even if it's gonna get oversaturated. We don't even know that yet.
Yeah, and that was kind of my reason for my comment earlier is I think a lot of people are kind of ignoring it because they don't feel like they need it yet. But I'd rather be proactive about this and
100%.
start building this out before I need it, because we never know what the future holds. And I think leveraging technology and being at the front lines of this shift that's coming, I think is going to be a smart business move.
100%.
And it can't hurt. I mean, you're going to be able to generate appointments with customers that you otherwise would not be able to. Because there's people right now that only want to meet with somebody virtually that you're not able to serve at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you keep bringing up with the technology, being on top of the new adaptations that are coming in the business world. You had also mentioned a few AI tools that you use. So let's talk about that. How are you implementing AI within Grosso University right now?
Yeah, so speech analytics is huge for us right now. So we partner up with a lot of AI technologies that actually record the entire sales encounter from millions of sales encounters all over the country. So I want to talk about like one of the flagship trainings we offer at Grosso University. So we have this program called the Sales Academy Masterclass, which occurs the second Monday of every month. And essentially what it is companies all over the United States, they throw as many salespeople at us as they want, and we train them 100% virtually over Zoom, but we take them through our entire 11-step sales process from A to Z, and we actually test them out and certify them. And the way we do that is throughout the entire training process, when we're talking about step 1 or step 2, we're having the reps actually record themselves using AI on audio, actually going through that step of the sales process, and they're getting graded and scored throughout every single day of the training in their fluency following the system. And then part of the final exam is they have a sales manager proctor the exam, where the sales manager is holding onto the recording device with the AI, and the salespeople have to go through the foundational scripts of our methodology verbatim, and they get graded very closely on script adherence because it's important. And it immediately gives us a grade and a score on how fluent they are in our sales process. So we can train literally unlimited numbers of salespeople now because we're using AI to train, test, and certify them throughout, which is crazy. And then after they graduate from our training, I feel like the most important element where a lot of people drop the ball is after the training's over, what type of post-training molding, support, and education are you providing? How are we going to have visibility as to what these reps are doing if we're not physically there, right? Because we're remote, we're virtual. So AI gives us that x-ray vision that we need now, where we can have these reps record themselves in actual homes with real prospects going through the entire sales encounter. And AI tells us precisely, here's what they're doing well, here's the areas that they can improve upon. And we can literally take small samples, large sample size, and be like, okay, what are the top 3 areas that this salesperson or this sales team would need to improve upon in order to level up and obviously get better at following the system? And then we can target our post-training education, coaching, and molding accordingly. So it allows us to make data-driven decisions that we never would have been able to do without it. So
yeah, I mean, just the sheer amount of time it would take to listen to all of those recordings, see what each salesperson is doing wrong, and being able to target specifically on this salesperson might need better discovery versus this person might need to have a stronger close. So yeah, that's amazing. Tell me about the tools that you guys are using, maybe not as much as a in the sale type of moment, but for things like lead gen or follow-up or things of that nature.
Yeah, so we have a lot of partnerships. One of them is Channel Automation. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. So Vixon, he's a good friend of mine, but he's got AI basically built in through all your omni-channel marketing and advertising. funnels. So basically your social media, your SMS, your email, it's basically an AI that kind of governs it all. So that's really, really sophisticated, really high level. We use the typical stuff that bolts into, we use Go High Level for our CRM, and there's all kinds of automations and AI built into all that. Obviously for, helping get blogs and articles and stuff out there, AI is prevalent and all that stuff. So AI is just kind of sprinkled into a lot of the things that we do. I know in the home improvement space, a lot of people are using products like Think Unlimited, and those are the types of AI technologies that allow you to pull all these data points off of every home in the country. We also got partnerships with companies like Data Shopper, where, again, leveraging AI, they're able to basically provide lists of prospects and clients with all the data points pulled, which is terrifying, obviously. Talking about this stuff, it's like you can literally go into a customer's house knowing more about their situation than they do in a lot of cases. So, the thing we always say is AI, obviously it's going to displace some jobs, but the thing people are going to be more concerned about is, you're going to get replaced by somebody leveraging AI to its fullest capacity, and that's what we're seeing now. Is you can't compete with it. Literally, it's like cheating in a lot of cases, because it gives you absolute superhuman ability and like psychic powers and X-ray vision in ways that, I can't even wrap my head around. And, looking at my journey at Mad City when I built that team from 7 million to 100 million, I didn't have any of this stuff. Right. So then I just look back, I'm like, man, if I would have had those tools, I would have been able to do that a hell of a lot better with so much less mistakes and trial and error and a lot faster and more efficiently, right? So yeah, it's absolutely crazy to see how this is evolving and how rapid it's becoming. Yeah, we're definitely at the front lines of that. AI is definitely embedded into everything we do in our training and coaching and testing and certification, and even internally at Grosso University, leveraging it for our channel automations and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And one thing you mentioned was AI is going to replace a lot of jobs, but in reality, AI is not going to replace the jobs. It's going to be people who know how to use that AI.
Correct.
That's something that I've been preaching. I believe AI to be an incredible tool at people's disposal. Rather than something to replace people, I think every salesperson should be using it as an extra knife in the toolbox.
Correct. Yeah, it's just, you think of when the internet came out, obviously.
100%.
Imagine trying to run a business now, just completely ignoring the internet. Like, we're just not going to use the internet. We don't think we need it. It's like, and AI, I think, is going to be even more important than the internet. It's like, right. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
There's three things that I say all the time, right? The dot-com bubble, TikTok, and AI. Those are the three things that if you're not utilizing it in some capacity, you will be left behind. Now, TikTok, really that means social media in general, but TikTok's just the social media right now. I think a lot of like YouTube, Instagram, all of that stuff is important, but those three things, in the 90s, if you didn't jump online, you're gone. Like you can look at the biggest companies that we used to go to all the time, Blockbuster, Kodak. They didn't keep up with the times, they're gone, right? Yeah. Same thing with AI now, same thing with social media 10, 15 years ago. The landscape is changing so much. One thing that I actually think is really interesting, and this is something that, I'm a fairly young dude, I'm 28 years old. I was talking to my dad about this, and it was from when he was growing up to the 90s, there wasn't that much technological change. There was like, industry became really big in the, post World War II. But really when he was growing up to the 90s, there wasn't that much difference. People all lived the same lives. And then as soon as the 90s came, the internet came, and then technology advanced so rapidly that it's almost impossible now. We have phones in our pockets that are stronger than the original Apollo mission that went to the moon. Yeah. And to wrap your head around that is really, it's scary. It's kind of terrifying to see how far we've gotten. I think
here's what I'm telling people too, and this is going to sound kind of ridiculous, but obviously ignoring AI is suicide. Yeah. Okay. So if I ignore it, it's suicide. Okay. However, one thing that people got to be careful with is overusing AI prematurely, because there's so many people that are chasing all these shiny AI objects to try to like do everything for them. And the problem is in the home improvement space, that human element still matters. You can't automate everything. Like I can't just replace every human being in my call center with AI and expect that's going to pan out well.
Yeah.
Because there is going to come a time where people do actually want to talk to a real person. And it still matters. People can still tell the difference. AI hasn't gotten to the sophistication yet where I completely displace all the human beings. But so we're preaching hybrid also with AI, is like having the right blend, like you said, of human beings that are expertly trained to optimize their performance. So AI is optimizing HI, right? So don't be so like hell bent on chasing all these, because in the home improvement space, there's hundreds of AI companies coming out of the woodwork. Everybody's coming at you with these shiny, flashy AI objects, and they claim this is going to solve all of the world's problems, and then a lot of them fall flat. So make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure that these companies have a long-standing track record and they actually know what the hell they're doing, and focus more on optimizing your human potential with AI and not just completely eliminating humans from your organization, because that will backfire.
Have you ever heard of the uncanny valley? So the uncanny valley is this idea that humans get this eerie feeling when they see something that's almost human but not quite. And you'll see it with robots, and it's like you get this kind of weird vibe when you see robots that look too human.
Yes.
And I think that's a really important thing. There's a theory that there's a evolutionary reason for that maybe there was some species that was very close to humans that were dangerous. And that's where we get that feeling from. I think with AI, that's going to be an apparent thing. And what you said about the human touch, it's going to be so incredibly important. The more AI gets integrated into our lives, the less people are going to trust it, and the more important humans become, especially in sales.
Yeah, so here's what I'm seeing, and this is more of an opinion of mine. The more technology and AI gets shoved down my throat, the more I actually have a desire for human interaction. So the more they like try to pound this into my face, the more valuable human interaction is becoming. And companies are going to be able to use that as a differentiator. Yeah, of course we use AI for, optimization, for efficiency, so we can provide the best service, because we want to build an elite company to best serve our clients. But we always have a real human being on standby. Unlike our competition that automates everything, they don't care about you. We truly do care. And anytime you want to talk to a real human being, we're here for you when you need it. So I think companies are going to be able to use that as a big differentiator to build value. It's no different than when a lot of these companies, to try to save money, because AI can help save money, right? They outsourced all these call centers to other countries, or even did automated call centers where you're talking to robots on the phone. And we'd always differentiate. We don't outsource that because we actually care. You got real human beings that will take your call whenever you need it. So it's balancing the two. So obviously go all in on AI, leverage it to its fullest capacity, but don't go into it with the intention that I'm going to replace all my human beings, because that's going to become more and more valuable for you and your customers as time goes on.
Yeah. There's a guy, I'm sure you've maybe heard of him. His name is Ravi Abuvala. He's the CEO of Scaling with Systems. And one thing that he sort of preaches is that we're in a trust recession right now. Right now, there's the least amount of trust in over, I don't know how many years, but a huge amount of years. So it takes people about 7 hours of viewing your content, your ads, to make a buying decision.
Yep.
And I think with AI sort of taking things over, that trust is going to go lower.
Yep.
So it's going to be much more important to have that human connection, because that's the best way to build that trust.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree 100%. Yeah, it's interesting to see, but yeah, that's why we say legendary training for the modern world, though, because we're not naive to the fact that if we at Grosso University don't get on the front lines of AI and leverage it to its fullest capacity, we will get replaced by a coaching organization that is. So I got a lot of creative things we're building, AI agents that sales reps can role play with. I have this big picture vision of doing this whole AI virtual simulation where people can literally run an entire virtual sales encounter, but it's like a first person game. And they can use AI to pick the certain personality type of the prospect they want to role play with and the difficulty level. And they literally go through an entire sales encounter and actually role play that thing out and have the customer throw objections at them. Because, we can talk about this stuff philosophically in the classroom all day long and try to picture it in our minds. But what if I could actually gamify it and make it real?
Right.
So that's something that we're definitely going to be developing in the future. There's all kinds of creative ways that we're going to leverage this to try to, again, optimize HI, the human intelligence, the in-home closers that are going and making it happen.
That's awesome, man. I've loved the conversation so far. I do want to ask you a few questions about, just some personal philosophies that you have, any wisdom that you can share to any founders who may be looking into getting into something like this, getting into coaching, getting into home improvement? What's one core philosophy you have that you can share?
So one core philosophy I have, we're always trying to exceed expectations in every form of the fashion. So a lot of consultants tend to overpromise, underdeliver. A lot of coaches tend to do that. So I think being realistic about expectations and err on the side of over-delivering and delivering maximum value to your clients. So one thing that I'm doing right now, which I think is vital, is I am building out, I know you talked about social media and YouTube. I am building out a YouTube channel right now. We have about 350 videos on there at the moment.
Oh, okay.
And I want to get to the point where we have thousands of videos. Not being afraid to serve up a lot of content for free. Mm-hmm. So you had talked about giving people the opportunity to build trust with you, get to know the true authentic you, build a relationship with you, so then they feel compelled to reach out to you. One thing that I tout about Grosso University is our free content is better than most of the paid content that's out there, and that's true. And I do that intentionally because I want people to have the opportunity to learn for free. If I can change their life for free, that's going to give them all kinds of reasons to want to reach out and actually subscribe to what we're doing officially and be a paid client. So don't be afraid to deliver tons of value and become known. You had mentioned the 7-hour mark. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of research on that, right? If people watch 7 hours of your content, they're pretty much going to buy whatever you have at that point.
Got to get on the call at that point.
But you have to have the content available to them to watch. Do you have enough presence on social media and YouTube where people think of like any Netflix series where you kind of just got lost in the content, right? Just like one video to the next to the next. Is your YouTube channel built out that way where I can get lost in your channel for hours and deliver, or, obviously receive loads of value? So that's something that I definitely have learned along the way. And that's one of our big campaigns right now. Yeah. Don't be afraid to change people's lives for free. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, they'll feel, I don't want to use the word indebted to you, but in a way they feel like they need to reach out to you to work with you officially and have that close proximity to you.
Yeah, there's also the thought that if I'm getting this much value for free, what would I be able to get if I actually...
Oh my God, game changing. The paid content is a whole different level.
Yeah, Alex Hormozy talks about this a lot. Mm-hmm. He talks about this all the time. Give away as much as you can for free, and there's a reason he's the biggest business guru on the internet now.
You know what it does too, for me, we always say school's never out for the closer. Because we're kind of laying it all out in the field for free on our YouTube channel, that it's like, okay, I have to keep reading and studying and learning because I'm serving up like everything I know for free. I got to learn some new stuff. Like it gives me that daily sense of urgency to like want to learn something new, want to read, because I owe it to my audience to continue to level up so they can level up with me along the journey. So when you see like my warrior wisdom walks that I do on YouTube and a lot of the different content, I'll be reading something in a book and it's just like a profound piece of wisdom or a golden nugget or a thought or idea. I'm like, I got to get in front of a camera and share this. Yeah. But that's the beautiful thing about it, is it puts pressure on you as the coach, trainer, and leader to continue to level up because you don't want to let your audience down. So I'm always trying to grow and develop as a man, as a person, as a human being, trying to sharpen the axe because I want to have new things that I can share to help improve the lives of the people watching me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing you just mentioned, which I really, really like, I think that's so important, is always wanting to learn and grow and, not stay stagnant in who you are. So talk to us about that. How do you stay sharp as a CEO and continuously grow and improve on yourself?
Yeah, audiobooks are a gift from the heavens above, in my opinion. So I hammer through audiobooks like a maniac. I'm always listening to audiobooks, whether I'm in the gym, whether I'm going for a walk, I'm going for a run. I'm always downloading terabytes of information. So one thing I firmly believe is we have an infinite capacity to learn. And I think a lot of people underestimate how much they can learn in their life. And I'm also a firm believer in learning a little about a lot. So life is very interesting. This world is interesting. There's all kinds of cool things to learn. And it helps you be very dangerous, especially like if I'm a salesperson and I know a little about a lot, I can strike up a conversation and relate to people of all walks of life, different personality types. That relatability, that commonality, having shared wisdom and knowledge and information, it makes you a very powerful individual. But that's my biggest thing, is always trying to educate myself whenever I can. So I'll be here like typing an article or doing some sort of work or doing some projects for a client. And I constantly have an audiobook going, information in the background on leadership, on sales, on business, on life and health and wellness, mindset, you name it. There's all kinds of different information. So that's my philosophy there. I probably go through, I don't know, probably 100 audiobooks or more a year. And sometimes I listen to the same audiobook 3 or 4 times if it's really powerful. So, and I think that's something that is important to note. It's not always about reading 10 books, it's reading the right book 10 times.
Yeah.
And really internalize it and apply it in your life and master it. Because if you think about it, I mean, if you have one really great book, that one book can change your life if you truly internalize it. But yeah, school's never out for the closer. You know, I want to turn my entire life into, you know, my university. So I'm constantly learning, downloading information. So
yeah, you mentioned that, you know, reading the same book multiple times. I'm actually reading this. This is my 3rd time reading this, Letting Go.
Love it.
And it's basically a book about how to let go of your emotions and be disconnected to the outcome. You really can only control the income. You can only really control the inputs, be disconnected from the outputs, right? So what's your favorite audiobook? What would you recommend if you had to only give one?
Oh man, there's so many great ones. Obviously the classic ones like Think and Grow Rich and Psycho-Cybernetics and Outwitting the Devil. Napoleon Hill was one early in my career that really changed my life and got me really on the road to mindset. But there's all kinds of ones. How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. It's kind of the ultimate guide to eating, living an optimal, healthy life. I'm downloading all kinds of different books on, you know, how to be proactive about your health and wellness, how to optimize yourself. Because I think, you know, whether you're a leader of a team, owner of a business, or a sales warrior, being optimal physically really is the foundation of everything else in life. So yeah, there's a lot of books on sales that, of course, I download. I'm a big fan of Jeb Blunt and Chris Voss and a lot of these neuro-linguistic experts, masters of human psychology and emotional intelligence. So, I mean, we can talk for hours about different books, but yeah, I mean, I got my share of favorite authors, but I also like to read books from people I've never heard of. So just kind of exploring all kinds of different information and learning all kinds of new wisdom. I just stumbled upon an author, Andreas Morris, and he's got a book. It's It's the secret information to health, rejuvenation, optimization, or something like that. I'm butchering the title of the book, but it's just overall how to optimize yourself and how to get this amazing gift that we have as a human body to regenerate itself, even like reverse aging, and again, to live a long, healthy, optimal life.
Yeah. There's one book that I am super excited to read. It was supposed to be out by now, but I guess it got pushed back to next year's. It's called Protocols by Andrew Huberman.
Okay.
I've had it pre-ordered for like a year now, so really excited to read that when it finally does come out.
Oh, the title came to me. It's The Timeless Secrets of Health and Rejuvenation. So that's what
Timeless. Say that again.
The Timeless Secrets of Health and Rejuvenation.
The Secrets of Health and Rejuvenation. Okay, I gotta get that. That's gonna be one of my next reads.
It'll change your life. I mean, it's a thick book. It's a long read, but holy moly! I mean, this guy. Anything you want to know about? You know, a lot of what people don't talk about enough when it comes to health and wellness is detoxifying your body. Like, how many times do people talk to you about the importance of doing like a liver and a gallbladder cleanse?
Very rarely.
No. Okay, so what's the number one filtration system of your entire body?
Yep.
It's your liver and your gallbladder, right? So if you don't clean your filter ever, can you see that over time could impair your performance and your health and lead possibly even to sickness and disease? So he has a book that he wrote, Andreas Morris, the same guy that wrote the book, The Timeless Secrets of Health and Rejuvenation, and it's the Miracle Liver and Gallbladder Cleanse, because you can point back, basically when you get gallstones in your liver, it's linked to over 200 different types of diseases and sicknesses and illnesses. So when you do a liver cleanse and you get the gallstones out of your liver, and there's thousands of gallstones in most people's liver right now, it allows your entire digestive system, your filtration system, it cleans your blood. I mean, getting everything optimal. It'll literally, I mean, in some cases, reverse aging, like overnight. It'll make you just have all kinds of vibrance and energy and just radiate. It's crazy.
It's a good pitch, man. I definitely got to read this book now. I'm definitely
Nobody talks about this stuff. But this is why I like reading this stuff, because, you know,
I'll be on Amazon right after this.
You gotta clean your body. You gotta flush it out. Yeah, there's all kinds of different cleanses that I'm doing, like heavy metal detoxification, doing the liver cleanses. And the cool thing is, it's stuff that doesn't really cost you anything. So if you read the book, it's like it takes you a few days to prep for it, but once you do it, it's really simple and it can
Yeah.
change your life.
And the
It could
ROI
save your life.
is insane.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right, so we're getting close to the time. I'll just hit you with a few rapid fire questions, and then I
Okay.
would love to have you speak on what you guys or how to reach you guys at Grosso University. So, first, if you had to describe what the most important trait of a founder and a salesperson is, in one word, what would you say that is?
One word that I commonly think about is perseverance. So I think people give up too early. People give up and quit right before they're about to realize success. So my ability to persevere in my life is what saved my life in a lot of cases, because I had so many moments where I wanted to give up. I mean, I had moments in my sales career where I was literally pulled over on the side of the road in tears, wondering if this is for me, if this is the future I wanted for myself. Because like any salesperson, you have your good days, your bad days, your good months, your bad months. But my ability to never give up and persevere is one of the most important things I believe that I possess. And I think that's what separates the highly successful individuals from the people that do fail, is they simply don't give up. It's not that, they don't make mistakes and fail, but they fail forward. They course correct along the way. So I very much like to think of myself as like a heat-seeking missile. I'm sure you've heard of this analogy before, but if I fire a heat-seeking missile and it hits its target, is that a successful mission? Yeah, so we just look at the beginning and end, but we don't know what happened in between, that missile is making thousands of corrections to its trajectory along the way. Every one of those corrections is a failure. So it's constantly adjusting its course until it hits this target. And that's the way you got to go through life and persevere, is make those corrections, push through the obstacles, the failures, and just don't stop moving forward, though. Don't give up. I love the formula where it's, the secret to success in life is 1% talent, 1% luck, and 98% never give up.
Yeah.
You got to be able to persevere. But this all ties back into the health and wellness, because if I'm not optimal physically, it's really hard for me to persevere mentally. It's really hard for me to have the mental toughness and fortitude to persevere. And one thing I just want to share with the audience is the more you challenge yourself physically, by the way, the more it toughens you up mentally. So that's a big lesson I want to share. So do something new, something that you've never done before. Figure out some way you can challenge yourself physically, and you'll find that these petty things that normally got me all worked up and stressed out and upset mentally are not going to matter as much anymore. And you can kind of brush it off and just keep persevering and moving forward. So I think that's a very valuable lesson there.
Awesome. And I think I could probably guess what you're going to say, but if there's one skill that you would tell anyone who's trying to get into sale or trying to start their own business, what's one skill that they should master before any of the other?
I'm curious what you think I'm going to say.
I think you're going to say perseverance.
No, not perseverance. So one skill they need to master is the skill of listening. So this is where owners need to get better at listening to their employees. Salespeople need to get better at listening to their prospects. Talk less, listen more. That's
great.
There's a reason why we have one mouth and two ears. This is where most salespeople, most leaders, most owners, frankly, suck ass at listening.
Bingo.
So I think if we can get better at truly listening and asking questions, seek first to understand, then to be understood. I think overall that's going to help us in every area of our life, even in a personal, intimate relationship. If I can actually listen, truly listen, because as you know, there's a lot of people, they're talking to each other, but no one's really listening to anyone.
You just want to get your words out next.
Yeah,
right?
you're waiting for your turn to talk, right? So it's really, really important. So that would be the one skill I'd say for sure everybody can benefit from in your personal and professional life.
Yeah, one thing that a lot of people who are talkers, I'm a talker, I love yapping, I just don't stop sometimes. A lot of people who are talkers are told, like, you're going to be good at sales because you can talk to people. And what I found in my sales career over the last 10 years is that the people who listen, the introverts who can speak a little bit are the ones who are the best salespeople, because they can internalize what the actual pain points are and use that in a way to make the sale.
Yeah.
So
sales,
listening is incredibly important.
The one that's talking in sales is the one that's not in control of the conversation. It's the one that's asking questions and listening. That's the one orchestrating the conversation. So, but I'm the same way. I talk twice as much as the average person, which is completely fine, because if you only hear half of what I'm saying, you're still breaking even.
I'm going to start saying that, because anytime someone tells me I talk too much, that's what I'm going to start saying.
And everyone's like trying to process that. Like, I don't really, it kind of makes sense, but I'm not sure. So good
I
stuff.
like that, man. I
Yeah.
like that a lot. You brought up some good points, man. I had a great conversation. This was an amazing conversation with you. I want you to let everyone know, how can they find you on any of your socials, and how can they get connected with Grosso University?
Well, as you can imagine, there's not a lot of Dominic Caminatas out there, so I'm pretty easy guy to find. If you go on Facebook and if you go on LinkedIn, if you go on Instagram, if you go on TikTok, I'm on all these platforms. Go on our YouTube channel. So here's one thing I would just say. If you want boatloads, like hundreds of hours of free training, just go on our YouTube channel. We have over 350 videos on there. You can get basically your bachelor's degree in sales and psychology just watching our YouTube content. And if you like what you hear, obviously you can reach out to us personally. You can go on, follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can direct message me, or you can go on grossouniversity.com, go on our website, and you can explore the different services. One thing that I'm really proud of is, obviously I said that we're fully bilingual, but we have all the sales training, and brand new this year, we launched a whole new talent solutions service where we now have an entire recruiting arm of our business where any position you need filled with top quality talent, it could be in marketing, sales, production, operations, any pillar of your business, we have, I believe, the best recruiter in this industry at your disposal that literally was the head recruiter for a $1 billion corporation. Yeah. And now that recruiter is available to you to work with personally. So like Grosso University, we can actually recruit, train, test, and certify reps and marketers at scale for businesses all over the country. So essentially, if anyone in the home improvement space watching this, if you're looking to build a powerhouse level organization, apex level company, we can basically pour jet fuel on that, supercharge that for you, and help you do it profitably. So be happy to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the conversation, and thank you for tuning into the Chōten Podcast. For those of you guys listening, really glad. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you have any suggestions on who you'd like to see next, what you would like us to talk about, please drop them down in the comments below. And always remember, the future belongs to the founders who adapt the fastest. Mm-hmm. Dom is a great example of that. Dom, thank you so much.
And don't forget to clean your liver. Appreciate it.
Awesome.